You know, it seems as though if the Africans don't have this European name, they don't feel complete. You see, the Africans ought to feel ashamed if they don't feel embarrassed by what they do to themselves. It's persuasive self-enslavement. The oppressor is not there anymore to keep you confined in the state in which you are. Now you have your own people who see themselves in the image of the white man. You look at them. Frantz Fanon described this very well in his book, you know, White Skin, Black Mask, or Black Skin, White Mask, which is a story of, it tells a story of, colonialist oppression, what this has done to the minds of the African people. Black Skin, White Mask, African or the black people, as you call them, who see themselves in the image of the oppressor. You look into the mirror and you don't recognize yourself. You look into the mirror and you see a European staring back at you, and you get scared by the image of the person that stares back at you. You know why? Because you're not in alignment with the cosmic forces that govern the structure of your society. So you don't feel at home in your own house. You don't feel at home in your own continent. You always want to run away. We are all running away from Africa. We are all trying to look at Africa with scorn because the oppressor scorns Africa from dusk to dawn. This has to stop. You have African leaders. For those of us who were not there during the times of the slave trade or during the times of colonialism, when it started, we were not there, but we are witnessing this in the present day. We are seeing these things unfold in our eyes, in front of our eyes. Look at Alassane Ouattara. Look at Alassane Ouattara, a potentate, an imperialistic potentate, was kept his people in check like an expeditionary force, going to speak on behalf of the African people, declaring war on the brotherly African nation that has done no harm to his country. He is not even from the Ivory Coast. We are told that he is from Burkina Faso, but he was put in power in Cote d'Ivoire by the French imperialistic forces who are still there. They have a military base. I think they have about 1,500 French soldiers stationed in Cote d'Ivoire. They toppled Laurent Gbagbo, you see, and he has been in power. He served 2 terms, and now he has changed the Ivorian constitution. He called it the first term of the Third Republic. Look at this. Look at all this nonsense. You fought a serious rebellion against a leader. You toppled this leader with the help of the French, and now you're refusing to leave power. You want to die in power. And you've given yourself the liberty. You give yourself the liberty to go and speak on behalf of the people, declaring war on Niger, telling the Africans that you're actually sending 1,100 Ivorian soldiers to go and die. You're sending the children of the poor to go and die in Niger while you're sitting there whining and dining with the French criminals. You see? These people have always been in Africa. These traitors have always been in Africa. Frantz Fanon even speaks about them. He spoke of Houphouët-Boigny as a traitor, the African parliamentarians that were traitors. Fanon decried this problem a long time ago, back in the 50s, when the African struggle for liberation was gaining grounds or gaining currency across the continent and across the minds of the people. Now, there is a distressing poverty of sanity when a man like Alassane Ouattara takes it upon himself to go and speak in front of soldiers about declaring war in Niger. Now, the politicians make the decisions to go to war. But the rational calculation of utility about that decision to go to war is supposed to be made by soldiers, not the politicians. You get what I'm saying? Pay attention to what I'm saying. The politicians make the decision to go to war, but the rational calculation of utility as regards that decision to go to war rests in the hands of the soldiers, the commanders. You can see the soldiers sitting down, sitting quiet, and Alassane Ouattara is declaring war. You could see he was scared, he was uneasy when he was declaring this. He's saying he was speaking on behalf of the people of Niger. You see, that they're going to protect the people of Niger. But look at what is happening to the people of Niger. They are in a close fraternity, a tightly knit community with the soldiers. So they're acting in one accord. They're working in tandem with the soldiers. You want to go and dislodge the soldiers. You want to go and reinstate a man who has been deposed by the community. That was not a coup d'etat. It's a coup d'etat. If it was, it's a coup d'etat that has been legitimized by the people. So it has become legal. This has to be told to people like Alassane Ouattara and all these African despots, you see, that are holding Africans backward and telling Africans to stay in the prison of disorientation, which I call obscurity, you see, which is a state of confusion that should inspire the need for clarity and a quest for an opportunity to decipher the meaning of circumstances. Now, why are we in the state in which we are? The Africans have to ask themselves these questions. Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, now Niger. What is the unifying factor in all of these countries? France is a French colonies. I would not say former, they are French colonies. That's number one. Number two, they're military leaders running these countries. What has happened? You have to look at the factors. You see, what caused this? You don't go and try to solve a problem whose cause you don't know. You don't solve a problem when you ignore the cause of the problem. It's like you're trying to put a band-aid on a wound without cleaning the wound, and you think you're going to treat the wound. You know, you're trying to solve a problem whose causality you barely understand or barely acknowledge. You're not going to solve any problem. You can send 1,000, 1 million soldiers to Niger. You will not be able to